Good evening, everybody. Welcome again to another broadcast, a live broadcast. So glad that you're here. And it is Friday, November the 15th, 2024. Another long week, but we made it. I think we made it, y'all. We made it. And we're going to be getting it in tonight like we always do when we go live. And we're just going to give people about a minute and change before we get started, okay? So in the meantime, we're just going to sit back, chill, relax, and we'll be getting things started here shortly, okay? All right. Another wonderful day out here in Arizona. Really nice day out. It's the best time of the year when it cools down and you don't need the air conditioning. Good to see everybody in the chat as you're coming in, and again, really appreciate that. We'll be starting here in under a minute. Under a minute, we'll be starting, okay? All right, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for tuning in to another live broadcast. So glad to have each and every one of you here. And we're going to go ahead and jump in. So tonight, we're going to talk about what are some of the things that as Black Americans, you know, some of the things that, and this is probably applicable to anybody that you are categorized as Black. So you don't have to be an American per se. But, you know, this is the perspective that it's coming from. All right. So just so you understand what we're going to be, you know, where it's coming from and all that. So anyway, we're going to be talking about what are some of the things that we should, well, at least I think we should definitely be focused on in 2025. And, you know, as you know, before we blink, we're going to be in 2025. And, you know, there's been all of this talk about Project 2025, you know, and again, I've already explained that. We've already gone through that over and over again. This is just more government. And ultimately, they don't love you. OK, no more than the Democrats. They don't love you either. OK, so if you're still on that bandwagon, then my advice for you is you need to go ahead and get off of that, because you are deceived. Okay. So anyway, great to see again, as always, everybody in the chat. Let me go through real quick and give some shout outs to everybody in the chat. First, we got Wanea, we got Willie, we got Drummer Praise, we got Peace in Mind Counseling, we got Ilala. I always mess up your name. Always. I'll just say Miss Hamilton. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. We got Team Truth in the house. We got Diamande B. We got Avis in the house. And others are coming. Others are making their way to their seats and all of that. And but again, I cannot express enough how glad I am that all of you are here. And we don't take it lightly, nor do we take it for granted. All right. But it's good to see everybody. All right. So I hope you guys had a great week. It's been pretty good on this end, too. And I am very close to getting ready to do some rafting. Yeah, we have a river nearby here. I saw it last week. I actually stood on the banks of this river, and I was like, man, I'm not scared. It's not that at all. I just need to do it. You know what I'm saying? I've done it before, you know, in Pennsylvania, but I never did it here. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm not saying we're going to do it tomorrow, but I definitely want to go and check it out and find out more and how to do it and all that kind of stuff. So I'm trying to figure that out. And but in the meantime, probably going to do a little hiking tomorrow. And I'm trying to get out here and just Diamond. Okay, I said, did I call you Diamond? Black English, y'all. I'm sorry. Anyway. Sorry. All right. So anyway, especially when you get older. They told me, my elders told me, they said, when you get older, oh man, you're going to be, and I used to make fun of my aunts and uncles and all of that when it's Dwayne, it ain't Wayne, it ain't, they be naming everybody in the family, but now here is I'm doing the same thing. So my apologies, but you got to cut me some slack. This is the internet age, and everybody come up with these old names and stuff like that. So with numbers and all of that stuff. So cut me a little bit of slack. Look at me trying to make some excuses, but anyway, for real. Anyway, so tonight, like I said, again, we're going to be getting into what are some of the things, at least I think, we should be focusing on, in 2025 and beyond, especially within the shadow of another Trump administration. And these are some things that we should be seriously looking into and thinking about. There's a lot more scare tactics I'm hearing out there. They're saying that when Trump gets in office, you've already heard the girl talking about she was afraid to go to sleep because she was afraid when she wakes up, she's going to be in chains. I've heard other people say that Trump is going to be doing all kinds of stuff. He's going to be snatching people out of their houses in the middle of the night. He's going to be immediately sending a directive out to go and arrest as many black men as possible. I mean, just every and all scare tactic stories. And even when I go on Twitter, and we'll talk on this a little bit later, it was really funny. And I've actually backed away a little bit off of Twitter these last few days because these people are still nuts. They're going insane out there. And but anyway, on Twitter, I've noticed that they have been really, all of a sudden, these doctors are coming out of nowhere talking about how vaccines are so important, and and they save lives, and the CDC line and all of that, right? And and they're saying that because RFK is being nominated to be over the Department of Health and Human Services. So there's a lot of people out here that aren't happy with that. But we're going to look at the details of that, okay? Because we gotta look into that, and how does that impact us? You know what I mean? So we're gonna look into that. When you start talking about the jab and vaccines and things like that, YouTube gets a little funny, with stuff like that. So I'm gonna need your help tonight when we do get to that topic. If I'm talking about those things, just be alert enough to read between the lines, okay? Help me out a little bit because YouTube, man, they don't be playing when it comes to stuff like that. And they were kind of scared. Even the last broadcast we did when we were talking about transgenderism and all of that, they were like, we need to hold off on this for a little bit. Let's do some investigation, and before we just go ahead and give you the total green light and say this one is okay. They eventually say it's okay because I'm not out here, bashing, people like that or whatever, but we are about the truth, and that's what we're all about here on this platform. Okay, so tonight we're going to look at things such as what are some of the things we need to focus on. We're going to look at this topic of abortion, right, or / birth rates. We're going to look at the importance of us settling on this issue of gender. All right, we need to settle on that. We're also going to talk about the importance of focusing on our health and what all of that entails, right? We're also going to look at, it's going to be a heavy one. It's going to be a heavy one, but I'm going to have to hit it hard and keep it going. It's my belief that as a people, we need to start making our way, moving away from religion. Okay, so I need you to hear me on that one. And then we'll talk a little bit about money, and then, and then of course, I'll say the last one will be travel, and why I think it's going to be very important for our people to really start looking into traveling, and why that's so important, not just for exercise, not just for vacation, but really just getting out there and seeing the rest of the world, what the rest of the world has to offer out there. And the world has a whole lot to offer, regardless of all the negative nannies and stuff that you hear out there. Now, one of the things I've been hearing it's a very, very bad argument that they're putting out here now. Of course, if you've been following it at least a little bit, I've kind of, like I said, again, politics, I'm only interested up to a certain point in politics because it's just so circular after a while. So I just get tired of talking about it at some point. So I've kind of trying to shift my attention to other things. But there's this one thing that kept coming up over the last few days as President-elect Trump has been making these selections for his administration. And the people who lost the race, the Kamala people, have been very quick to point out that, oh my goodness, he has not picked any black people. There's no black people in his administration. When you look at that, we knew that was going to happen. Now, how do you feel, black people who voted for him? He don't even care about you. There's no black people in his administration. So what do you think about that? Don't you think you're stupid now? Yeah, you look stupid. You look dumb. Just like he's giving reparations to white people now. Don't you look stupid and dumb and crazy now? It's like I was telling Nicole, I said, it's literally like listening to a bunch of children. Like we're in JV or eighth grade. That's what it sounds like. And it gets, I don't know, it's just so tiring to hear grown people talking like this. Well, let's talk about this whole thing with him, Trump not picking any black people, at least not yet. I think Ben Carlson may be, in the mix somewhere. Don't know. But outside of that, it is pretty much white. It is. Why are you surprised? Well, if you take a look at the chart again, and you can look at it, 92% of black women in this election voted for Kamala. 92%. That's a near 100%. We're about 80 or so percent of black men voted for Kamala as well. So you got 92% of black women, and then you got about 80% of black men. Yes, there was a significant amount of black men who opted not to vote for her. Instead, they voted for Trump, or maybe voted for Green Party, or didn't vote at all. But by and large, she got pretty much very close to 100% of the black vote. So if she got that amount of the black vote, what black people can he point to be a part of his administration? I'm just saying, black people spoke loud and clear in this election that this is who they wanted. You know what I'm saying? Just generally speaking, 92% of black women, about 80% of black men said with their full chest that they wanted an Indian woman to represent them. So why would why would Trump all of a sudden say, I need to get some black people here? Why would he do that? See, the thing is this, it still speaks of this whole thing that this nation voted against in this election. One of the things, and it's this whole identity politics thing now, that you got to have someone that looks like you. He don't even think twice about you. He hates you, and I say, and for that, I'll tell people this. Okay. When you go into your favorite grocery store, Publix, Kroger, Safeway, whatever it is, right? When you go into these areas, into these in grocery store, or when you go there, what are you going there for? You're going there to get food, right? Going there to shop for the week. Now, when you go in there, is your first inclination like, wait a minute now, before I go do my shopping, let me make sure, let me do a head count now. How many black people are here working? Because based off of that, I'm gonna make some decisions here. No, people generally don't do that. Restaurant. When you go to a restaurant, Are you doing a head count of how many black people are there? Well, I would tell you, I do. You know, if they say they're a soul food restaurant, listen, I love my Mexican folks or whatever, but I'm sorry. It need to be some black people back there. You know what I mean? But other than that, if you go to a restaurant, I'm not doing any kind of head counts. All I want is what you guys advertise, and that's it. So likewise, same thing. Now, some people may say, well, you know, see, the thing is, the role of a president is it's his cabinet or her cabinet that's got to reflect America. Well, in that being the case, that means he needs to have some Japanese people up there. He needs to have some Mexican people up there. He need to have all kind of people up there. But no, that's not it. He ain't going to have that. Now, I'm not, you know, and people may hear this and say, see, I knew it. You just love you some Trump. No, I'm just looking at it as if representation equals something. See, this is the problem with a lot of our people. And this is the trap that has been circular, that a lot of our people have been falling into this thing over and over again. Would I love to see someone black in a certain position, in a high position? Of course, it's eye candy right now. I mean, oh, that's cool. But we had 8 years of eye candy with Obama, and you complaining about that. Almost a month ago, or close to a month ago, we had a video where a woman who was in his circle, she acknowledged and admitted that his inner circle was made up of mostly white people who were telling him, listen now, no, you want to put some separation now between you and some of these black folks out here. See, you think that representation equals you something. It doesn't. I mean, if you want to really get into representation and you want to play this identity politics, well, let's look at a few examples. I mean, like Tiffany Haynard up in Illinois, you know, with who they rate as one of the worst mayor in America. Okay, this is your representation. So, and I remember I played a clip when we talked about her. It was, I think this guy was a white man. He said, and he was part of the city council. He said the reason why he voted for her, he said because she was young and she was black. He said that's the only reason. He said I had no idea, I had no knowledge of her background, none. I just saw that this was a woman and she was black and I want to vote for her. That's it. But then once he started finding out all this other stuff, he was like, oh snap, what did I do? You understand what I'm saying? So that's your representation. Now you got even black folks, they're trying to throw this woman out of office. Okay, that's your representation. Then you got, here, I wrote it all down here. You have the first black female mayor of San Francisco, Mayor London Breed, who's an AKA, by the way. Well, they voted her out. Okay, this is your representation. Then you got Jackson, Mississippi Mayor Chokwe Antar. Hope I'm saying that. Lumumba. Hope I'm saying his name right. Anton. Maybe this Anton. Indicted in a federal corruption probe. Alameda County DA Pamela Price. She was recalled. This all happened. Everything I'm reading to you all happened recently. Then you got Luana Nelson Brown, the director of the Neighborhood Safety Department in Minneapolis, argued for a contract to be awarded for a nonprofit black business enterprise fund. But it came out that she was arguing for this special fund that's set aside for black businesses. Well, guess who she was arguing who that money was going to at a tune of $1 million? It was going to her sister. We can go on and on and on. Now, does this mean that black people in leadership equals bad leadership? Absolutely not. Nobody's saying that. Of course, that's silly. That's dumb. Nobody's saying that. But my point is, I'm giving you examples where it doesn't equal what you think it is. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm not moved either way of who Trump picks, because my mindset and what, as far as my family is concerned, it's not in DC. It's here in this house. That's what my focus is on. I'm not, oh, who did he pick now? Oh, did he get someone for the department? Oh, what are they doing to the Department of Education? Oh, no, they're doing something for the Department of Education. They're going to get rid of it. Oh, God, what about the children? I'm not stressing. Why are you stressing? Yeah, we've been in this country for how many hundreds of years, and you still depending on the government to teach your children? You still haven't learned all this time? All this time, you still haven't learned that you should not have this government teaching your children. You shouldn't rely on the government solely, I should say, to for them to, to teach your children. Why are you doing that? But a lot of our people are. So my point is, again, this is no defense per se of Trump and not him not picking it, but I'm saying the math don't even add up. You got 92% of black women who voted for Kamala. You got about 80% of black men who voted for her as well. What incentive, just the numbers itself, does he have? Oh, I got to put a black person on my cabinet. He has none. He has absolutely none. Now, there's some black people out here who have been out here really pushing him and defending him and all of that. But the numbers just, they don't add up. They don't add up where that would even make any sense. Kamala, on the other hand, again, you had black media types that were mad because she was listening more to people in her inner circle. Well, guess who was in her inner circle, made up most of her inner circle? It was white people. They were pointing this out. I was trying to find the article. I have it bookmarked somewhere. So representation in of itself, just because black faces in high places do not always equal to what you hope it will equal. We've been falling for this trap for far too long, and it has not worked for us. So this is why we need to have these conversations like we're having this evening, and we're going to look at some of the things that we should be focused on instead of those kind of nonsensical kind of arguments, because it's just a very, very weak argument. So anyway, so let's go ahead and begin. Let's go ahead and dive in. And again, welcome to everybody as you're coming into the chat. Really appreciate that. Let's see. So the first thing we're going to look at is we're going to talk about birth rates. And this whole thing with abortions. Where the heck did that? Okay, here it is. Is this it? Oh, yeah. Here it is. Okay. So one of the hot topics that, that has come up, especially during this elections, is this whole nonsense thing about, again, they call it women's health. Okay. And as you know, that's the way they're titling that. That's a bunch of BS. Of course, any decent human being wants to make sure that women get all the health treatment that they ever need. If they get sick, they need to be able to get access to the medicines they need when they get sick, right? If they need an operation, they need to have the same kind of access to, operation. If they get cancer, if they got eye treatment or whatever, nobody's arguing against that. So why are they calling it women's health? Because that's a code word for abortion. That's what it is. It's a code word for abortion. That is where there's some strong opinions when it comes to that. And as we've talked about many times on this platform, that baby didn't get there by itself. It took two to create that baby. If a woman is entitled to 50% of a man's income in a divorce, then why is it that a man is not entitled to that part of that child? Why is that? You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot of word games and stuff that these people play and all this foolishness. But, we need to shut that down. Now, why is one of the things that we desperately need to focus on when we're talking about abortion? Because abortion, of course, as you know, is tied to birth rates. So let's talk about a few things when it comes to that. OK, so again, we go to our computer friend, ChatGPT. All right. And I'm just going to rattle off to you, some things here, some things to think about, and it's going to put it in a much deeper perspective for you. All right. So let's go ahead and go. All right. So when we look at birth rates here, the recommended birth rate for a demographic to maintain its population size and to avoid extinction is 2.1 children per child. All right. Again, we're dealing with straight numbers here. So, I know some of you smart Alex out there like, how can you have a 0.1% of a child? I get it. I would have been the one in the class saying that. But anyway, so yeah, so the recommended, if you want, I'll read that again. The recommended birth rate for a demographic to maintain its population size and to avoid extinction is 2.1%. I mean, children per woman. And they say it's commonly referred to as a replacement level fertility rate. All right. And then that's it. Okay. And so they say, why 2.1? Each woman must, on average, have at least 2 children to replace herself and the father. The additional 0.1 accounts for those who may die before reaching reproductive age or are unable to have children. What are some of the factors influencing replacement level fertility? Infant and child mortality rates. In regions with high child mortality, the replacement rate might need to be higher. Life expectancy. In societies where people live longer, lower birth rates can still sustain populations for extended periods. And cultural and economic factors, education, access to healthcare, and societal norms heavily influence fertility rates. Interesting that they are missing something that is blazingly obvious that contributes to this. Interesting, they just left abortion completely out of that. You know, again, we're supposed to just ignore that, right? All right, so let's give you some perspective here. So Japan is as you've been hearing some of these countries saying that they are very concerned about their future. Japan, their birth, they have right now, they're at 1.3 births per woman. 1.3. The recommended, if you want your culture, your traditions, your legacy to just go on and on and on and on, what they're saying is you need to be at 2.1 children per woman. Japan is at 1.3. Okay. Italy, 1.2 births per woman. 1.2%, not 1.2%, sorry. 1.2 children per child. All right. And then South Korea, around 0.8 births per woman, the lowest in the world. Now, these are the lowest ones that I just mentioned to you. You notice that there's a certain continent that didn't make that list. Well, let's continue here. All right. So now let's look at what is it for Black Americans. For Black Americans, we are currently sitting at 1.9 children per woman. 1.9%. I keep saying percent. 1.9 children per woman. All right. This is for Black Americans. For white Americans, they are at 1.8. All right. So keep in mind, if you want your demographic to continue to grow and go on and on and on and on and on, you got to be at 2.1 or higher. All right. Are you following me? I just want to make sure I ain't talking to myself here. You got to be at 2.1. I'm going somewhere with this. Okay. So as it stands right now, you've been hearing a lot of, a lot of white people saying that their population is reducing. And so this is where we get all the, here we come the prophets and the religious folks that said, oh, Edom is falling. Oh, the white people, the judgment is coming, y'all. It's coming. The judgment is here. All the religious people saying that. But what they leave out is that black people are right there with them. They leave that part out conveniently. Black Americans, I should say. Okay. So how does that fit into your... Okay. All right. So let's go on here. All right. So let's see here. All right. I told you about the white. All right. So let's look at Hispanics. What is their rate? What's their current rate right now? Well, they're sitting, and when I say Hispanics, that's very broad. I mean, that's, it could be here in the United States. It could be Central, Southern, South America. So that's what we're talking about, right? So they're currently sitting at 2.0. 2.0 children per woman. So they're pretty much right there. I mean, they're off by 0.1%, but they're good. They're right there, because that extra 0.1, as they said, that just is a little extra that they give. But, where they are right now, Hispanics, they're good. And when you look at their culture, again, we're talking generally speaking, they're always very big on families, very big on families. Now, as we're talking here, I want you to keep in mind again, all of these people that lined up and were gung-ho, they want Kamala, they want her and all that. And they were pushing, and what was one of the things she's standing for? Abortion. All right, well, this is where the path leads. Okay. All right. So like I said, again, just keep that in mind. Okay. So that's that. Now let's go to Africa, shall we? Now, again, Africa, as you know, is, I always got to say this because there's always one or two Africans people of the continent that will say, Africa is a continent, it's not a country. We know. Okay. You ain't got to tell me that. So we're talking in broad brush here. Then we're going to give some specific examples on some of the countries, okay? All right, so generally speaking here, Africa is sitting at, where is it? Well, it's high. I don't see that one. Okay, so it goes right into the specifics. Here we go. So Niger, right, has the highest fertility rate in the world. You know where they are right now? 6.73 children per woman. You heard that. 6.73 children per woman. All right. And what are some of the other African countries? Angola is at 5.76 children per woman. DR Congo is at 5.56 children per woman. Mali is at 5.45. All right. And then now let's look at the low end of Africa, shall we? Let's look at the low end. All right. So I told you the low end earlier with Japan and South Korea and all that, right? This is the low end of Africa. Okay. Countries like Kenya and Rwanda, their fertility rates are at 3.2 children per woman. So they are astronomically higher than the 2.1 children that's recommended if you want your demographic, your culture and all of that to last and last and last, right? So now let me throw you a little curveball because I just threw some things here. All right, so let's throw a little curveball. You ready? Let's go. Get my ball together, right? Okay, you ready? Here we go. So I said, all right, let's look at China. Well, you already know where that's going to be. But you know what China right now they're sitting at? Here we go. Here's the ball. Here's the pitch. You ready? Ready to hit it? 1.09. They're at 1.09 right now. Children per woman. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we understand why China has been so thick up in Africa. You want to know why they have been so thick up in Africa? Because they don't want to, they're trying to save their culture. And they understand, hey, listen, in a minute, China, we ain't going, some generations out, we don't have enough to replace. So we got to latch ourselves to a culture that's going to be here for a very, 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 very long time. And we're going to make sure that our stuff gets kind of seasoned into their culture so that at least we got some remnants or whatever left over. That's why they're in Africa, y'all. That's why they over there. You want us to build your highways? Okay, let's build your highways. You want us to build your schools? Let's go ahead and do that. You know what, Africans? Listen, we're going to give you all the loans you want. You want some? Here's some more money. Here's some more money. Here's some loans. You want some cars? I mean, they just doing everything. Now, let's not get it twisted. Now, they taking some stuff out of Africa too. You know, they're doing that. But this is why China has been rolling thick over there. Because they understand that in a moment, they're going to be gone. They're going to be gone. So I just named for you all these different countries, these different areas here, who's the lowest and who's the highest. And what I want to section out is Africa, the continent, and then also when I say South America, Central South, Hispanics. I'll just say that, okay? So these are the ones that are really going to be around for a very long time. Meanwhile, Black Americans, we're on the decline. See, we've been busy pointing at white people, talking about, nah. We're on the decline. And at this current rate, give it some time, we're not going to be around. What we call today African American, it's going to be a foreign thought. This is where we are literally right now. This is where we are right now. So this is why those, and I'm speaking even, regardless of, for people who may have voted for, I don't care who you voted for, but if you are someone that is standing your ground when it comes to abortion and you believe that's right, I have the right to eliminate my children, you are going to go down in history as one of the most ignorant, stupid, foolish people in human history. Because what group of people willingly elects to eliminate their own people? What group does that? You can call these white people all you want, all kind of names. They're this, they're evil, they're wicked, and you can say that all day and all night. But guess what? Black Americans are following them right to their own elimination. In fact, if we could beat them, we would do it. So this is why when we talk about abortion, for example, this is the much bigger, grander picture when it comes to that. So one of the things for sure that we're going to have to really draw a hard line on is when it comes to abortion, right? We got to draw a hard line on that. Because you're literally killing yourself off. And I just showed you what the future is right now. The future is in Black America. I know that you didn't want to hear that. I know you didn't want to hear that. Lord knows I know you didn't want to hear that. I have to pause on that one. Just based on these numbers here, we can boast all day and all night about how we've invented everything. We've invented this dance, and we invented this, and we invented this dish, and we come up, we're the most stylish people on the earth, and they got it from us. You can say all of that all you want, but at the end of the day, when you look at these numbers, what we call the Black American community is not built currently for the long haul. In fact, we're literally stripping our engine as we're driving and expecting that we're going to be on the long haul. That's the most stupid thing you do. If I'm trying to drive from one end of the country to the other, why am I going to be on the hood talking about, hey, all right, let me pull these spark plugs out and let me pull this. That's exactly what we are doing now. That's exactly what you're doing. And what's so sad is you're doing that because you're like, look at Mr. Charlie over there. Mr. Charlie, you doing that? Let me get up in on my hood and let me pull out some of these spark plugs too. And he's talking about, yeah, that's right. I'm doing it. You go on and you do it. And we up there, I can do it. I'm watch me. I'm going to do it right now. And we up there trying to race these people. They're dismantling their own vehicle. And we sitting right up there and doing it too. Meanwhile, we could say everything we want about Africa. Oh, y'all living in mud huts and ain't nothing but mud and bugs over there. And you guys are so backwards and you living in trash and filth and all of that. But guess what? Guess who's going to be around for the long haul currently? And why do you think, and someone mentioned it, I don't know if that was Team Truth, someone mentioned it. Why do you think people like Bill Gates and other pharmaceutical companies are over there? Because they're trying to stop that. They're trying to stop it. And this is my total theory here at this point. Okay, so we're going into theory zone, okay? I'm not able to substantiate this. This is total theory zone. What I believe is that some of these leaders on the continent, they already know that they're going to outlast just about all these other groups. And so I think my guess is, because I'm sitting here scratching my head, I'm like, why is it that these African leaders are allowing people like Bill Gates to come over here and literally, I mean, you see what he's doing. I mean, you literally see what this guy is doing. Why are they allowing it? I think, if anything, it's kind of like, well, we'll sell off some of these little weaker groups, and you can have them, and, and I'm okay with slowing down the growth, you know what I mean? But we're still going to win at the end. So Bill Gates, if you just want to slow down the growth, you can, but at the end of the day, we're going to overpopulate y'all in a moment. So it may be some little game like that that's going on. These people are evil, y'all. These people are evil. Just because they may look like you don't mean they for you. If you didn't learn, with the whole thing with, what's his name, Denzel, people are falling out their chairs like, oh my God, how is this even possible? There's a level of evil that most of us have never really seen. We haven't. But trust me, it's there. And so anyway, these are the people that ultimately are going to be here for the very long haul. This is why you got China over there. This is why you got Russia over there. This is why you got some of these other countries over there, because they understand, they know what's up. And so they're over there so that they're trying to intermingle and all that in an effort to keep Africa is basically a time capsule. Let's put it that way. That's basically what it is, because they see that their boats are sinking. Meanwhile, you got Black Americans, where we do have strong ties to the continent of Africa, even though you got FBA and all these other people saying, no, we ain't got nothing to do with Africa. We're trying to run the opposite way. Why would you do that? So anyway, this is something that is extremely important, going in from 2025 on up. This is why I say, again, looking at the Trump administration, Trump has been very clear that he's okay with abortion. I think his direction is more or less, it should be state rights and not so much a federal mandate, that kind of thing. But either way, abortion, I can't get with that, period. I just can't. Now, like I said, again, if it's in the issue of saving the life of the mother or something like that, and that's a separate discussion, and that should be up to the mother to decide on stuff like that. And the mother and, well, really, I would say the mother, because now is really just her life at stake here. You understand what I'm saying? But when it comes to, some of this other foolishness that we see out here, it's unwise. It's unwise and it's foolish and it's crazy. All right. So the next thing we're going to get into which ties into this, is that settling on gender, because the gender thing actually ties into this. Okay, this whole gender argument, LGBT, XYZ, and all that stuff, right? It ties in directly to what we're talking about here. I don't know if you guys have seen this list or something like that, but if you think it's just LGBT, think again. Check out this list here. 72, at least 72. They said this was medically reviewed on 2/9/2024. This is on medicinenet.com. Of course, they got to get a mixed black woman or something up here. I told you, we are always the Trojan horse for this stuff. Okay, so here's some of the ones. We'll just skip through some of these. Okay, so you got agender, a woman, or rather, a person who does not identify themselves with or experience any gender. Agender people are also called null gender, genderless, gender void, or gender or neutral gender. At Adamus gender, a gender that is indefinable or indomitable. People identifying with this gender refuse to be categorized in any particular gender identity. I mean, that's repetitive. Anyway, arrogender, also called evase gender. Sorry, the gender identity changes according to one's surroundings. Huh? Anyway, autogender, having a gender experience that is deeply connected and personal to oneself. Bigender, having two gender identities at the same or different times. Here's one, boy flux. A person identifies themselves as male, but they experience varying degrees of male identity. This may range from feeling agender to completely male. Demiflux, a combination of multiple genders with the same gender static, whereas other fluctuating in intensity. I'll just whatever. Mirror gender, changing one's gender type based on the people's surroundings. Gender witched, the person is inclined towards the notion of having one gender but doesn't know which. I mean, all of this sounds confusing. It's all confusion. 72. So we got at least 72 different genders that are recognized by the medical industry. 72, at least. So why am I bringing this up? So I thought this ties in perfectly to what the last topic we were talking about, and that is abortion. Because what abortion does, it basically stunts the growth of any demographic, right? Likewise, this does the same thing. You know, listen, like I said, and I'll continue to say it over and over again, if you're grown, you're an adult or whatever, who you sleep with and whatever, and what you do behind closed doors, that's your response. That's you. That's your choice. That's your decision. I really don't care. I really don't. It ain't my business. I really don't. When I go outside, when I'm driving or whatever, not even the last thing on my mind is, gee, I wonder what that person across the street, what are they doing? They look kind of gay or whatever. I don't care. I don't. I literally don't. And most human beings think the same way. Where it gets choppy is when this agenda is being pressed on people who don't care. That's where it becomes a problem. That's where it becomes problematic. And people like Kamala, she was pressing for this kind of agenda. This is the kind of agenda that she was pressing. And black folks were lined up for this kind of stuff, not realizing that these kind of lifestyles actually limit population growth. This is what we've been talking about. So all of these things is all about the reduction of the population. So again, you want to do that, that's fine, but you're not growing anything. The population is not growing. Do you want to know, going back to China, okay, China, the reason why they're in the position they're in right now is because they adopted this, I think it was a one child rule. You remember that? You want to know where they got that from? Communism. You know where communism, who birthed that? It was Jews. That was a Jewish invention. And when you look at Chinese history, and when you go back, there were multiple Jewish families that moved there. And oh man, we did a video on this where there's certain Chinese last names you kind of have to know when you read it. It actually is a, like, you know how some people, depending on the country they're from, they'll adapt to their, they'll say, okay, this is my African name, but then my American name is this. Well, when these Jews, when they moved over to China, and again, we're talking like hundreds of years ago, they did the same thing. So there's certain Chinese last names that are actually, like Cohen has a Chinese version of that. There's many last names like that that are actually Jewish. So they are the Jews are the ones that introduced communism to China. And with communism came this whole one child rule thing. So they adapted it and they adopted it. And then now they realize, oh snap, what have we done? So now this is why China is scrambling now, trying to save their culture. We'll get to that certain group of people that we're not supposed to be talking about. We'll get back to them in a moment, okay? But this gender issue, as black people, black Americans, we are going to have to draw the line on this when it comes to this whole gender thing. And if you are someone that's about your culture, your people, your heritage, your lineage lasting for long, then the only way you're going to get there is by establishing that there's one man, one woman, and children. That's it. There's none of this other 72 whatever. There's none of that. And we're going to have to be firm on that. Now, I give a lot of heat to the church, when I'm talking about the church and the church system and all that stuff. But I came across Bishop Wooten. Some of y'all may know that name. Some of y'all who are in the church, particularly in Kojic. I listened to him. I said, man, this man is the last man standing. I think he's the last man standing in that denomination. Bishop Wooten, he basically has been very vocal when it comes to these topics that I'm talking about, when it comes to abortion, when it comes to LGBT. He's been extremely vocal on that, extremely, and standing his ground on that. He was trying to become the part of the, they just had this whole, Kojic, they do this whole thing where you elect to the board or the whatever. And so, of course, he didn't get it. They didn't let him. But Bishop Sheard or whatever, he's still safe. But Bishop Sheard and all them people on that board, they welcomed with open arms Kamala and endorsed her as the largest black church denomination. So in endorsing her, they also endorse the policies that she's pushing, which is LGBT, which is abortion. So do I pivot to the church thing? Because let me do this. So anyway, so in conclusion, the gender issue, you as a family, you're going to have to focus on your family first. Now, when it comes to, if you have existing family members who are of that life, gay, lesbian, or whatever, I don't think it's the right thing to do to, just to go off on them and just being mean and treating them bad or disrespectful or anything like that. Of course that's wrong or whatever. I do think you should at least, definitely do your best to listen to them, have that really, those deep conversations to find out, okay, how did this happen? Really try to find out. I know those are hard conversations, I'm sure. But in most cases, you're going to find that on the other end was something happened in their childhood. In just about every case, you're going to find that is almost every case. So, but the problem is a lot of families don't want to have those conversations. They don't. So as a family, and I'm talking about your family, my family, whatever, we're going to be willing to have these difficult conversations that many families, black families, have been running from because they're too uncomfortable. So what we do is we just kind of go along with it and just say, well, he's just going to be that anyway, or she just going to be that anyway. No, we got to have these serious conversations, because if not, we're contributing to this whole trend that we're talking about here. Let's jump here to health. All right, well, let's talk about that real quick. Focusing on health, that's going to be another thing that we're going to need to focus on as well. Well, for starters, of course, you've heard me many times talking about, learning to wean ourselves off of these pharmaceuticals, off of this system. You're really going to have to make an effort to do that. And I think some of the positives out of this election, I would say, I believe we have been given somewhat of a reprieve. And these things that I'm talking about right now, what I'm saying is that I think we've been given a little bit of time to get it right. Because I think if we don't get it right now, that's it. That's it. So that's why I said, so some of these things, all these things, we're going to really have to put our foot down when it comes to this whole gender thing, when it comes to birth rates or abortion. We're going to have to put our foot down on that. When it comes to health, you should be focusing on 100% getting yourself, your goal should be weaning yourself off of pharmaceuticals. You should not be depending for the rest of your life on pharmaceuticals. No, sir. No, sir. I'm not telling you to get off of them immediately. Of course, you don't do that. But your life plan should not be, I'm going to be taking high blood pressure pills for the rest of my life. You should not adopt that, because you don't have to do that. You do not have to do that. There are many natural solutions out here, and you need to start focusing on and making sure you're bringing that into your life, and also improving your daily activities, things like that. You need to be focusing on that too. Okay? Never mind with the Department of Health and Human Services. We don't care about that. These are things that we can do for ourselves now. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just general health. Now let's get into some of the specifics. Mental health. Mental health's got to be a priority too. Now, you heard me mention earlier about the LGBT and all of that. A lot of that can be tied to that. All right. Chemical imbalance stuff, things like that. It's not just LGBT, but just depression. There's a lot of our people that deal with depression, the impacts of maybe a parent leaving them, things like that, or maybe a marriage that went south or whatever, abuse or whatever it may be. We have taught ourselves that we are built like Iron Man or something like that we could take it all because we black or whatever. No, you're human too. And you need to be able to start taking care of yourself, starting with this, the mind. The mind, it has to be taken care of. We spend more money on getting shots in our behind and everything else, but not enough attention is paid to this. And so mental health is going to have to be absolute key. It's going to have to be absolute key. And what do I mean by that? Let's branch this out even more. Listen, let me tell you something. Maybe this don't apply to all of y'all, but it applies to at least some of y'all. Starting next year or even now, you need to start ejecting the people in your life that are the energy vampires. Let me say that again. You're going to need to start ejecting the people that are in your life that are the energy vampires, meaning people that just take away from you. Every time they open their mouth, they're just taking away from you. They're just taking away your time. You can be having a wonderful day, and then by the time the conversation is over, you feel like a whole school bus done ran over you. Or people that are just going to be very negative all the time. Let me tell you something. Black traditional black media, like the Roland Martins and stuff in the world, these Negroes have already resorted themselves for the next 4 years that everything they're going to report on is going to be nothing but negative. It's all negative, 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 negative. Look at what Trump did. Trump is racist. Look at what Trump did now. What about this? Look at Trump. Everything's going to be racist from this point on. You need to separate yourself from that. There are people, even maybe in your family, that you're going to have to make some hard decisions, and you're going to have to say, you know what? I love you. You got my number, but don't call it. Because right now, I don't need to hear from you. I don't. Done it. I love them, but no, absolutely not. And I'm not going to sit up here and pretend that you ain't who you really are. I'm not playing that. I'm not playing that. Like, I'm supposed to just kind of go along with your foolishness. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that, and neither should you. You should not allow any more time of that and being Mr. or Mrs. Phony. No way. You let them know, hey, listen, politely or whatever, hey, this is what it is. I need my space or what. I mean, you ain't got to go through no long thing. You just deuces. And for some, you have been telling some of these people over and over and over again, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. Okay, you find yourself in this problem. Okay, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. And some of y'all been giving that out for years and years and years and years. And these people still do the same, the direct opposite. I told my wife the other day, I said, no more. I ain't doing it no more. And neither should you. Cut it off. Just cut it off. Because they done already made up their mind. Cut it off. They on their own now. I ain't going to continue to invest my time in people like that. And neither should you. So as we're rolling into this year, we gotta draw the line with people. You're going to have to draw the line. This is all tied into your health, into your mental health too. You got too much. That energy can be going to so many other things. But I'm telling you right now, 2025, my energy will not be going to people who are going to just piss on it. I'm not doing that anymore. No. That's why I said even I YouTube, I like being on here and all of that. But I'm telling you right now, the good percentage of people look at it and they just skip and look at 2 minutes of the video and keep it moving. I'm not going to keep doing this. I mean, it's cool and all, but I ain't going to keep doing this. If the overwhelming majority of people that's listening ain't have listening or putting anything into practice, why am I going to keep putting my energy into this? So at some point, I've already told y'all, you ain't going to see me. It ain't going to be because YouTube cut me off. It's going to be because I cut it off. Because I'm saying, you know what? I put enough energy in that. Now I'm in this part of my life right now. Let me start focusing on this. And I'm telling you right now, at least for our family, for this house, we already done planned out. You understand what I'm saying? This ain't it. You just catching me at the bus train station right now. Because I'm like this right now. That train here yet? And I ain't talking about the rapture either. I'm talking about the next phase of what we at least are working towards. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just at the train station. I'm right now. We having a good old conversation, but I'm constantly listening to that train. Because when that next phase come, you know what I'm going to be doing? Cutting this off, cutting that off. Be like, all right, let me turn this camera off. All right, bye. Gone. For real. Love y'all, but I got to keep it moving. Let's see here. Okay, so we talked about that. Another thing too that I want to point out is still staying in this whole health situation. Now, you know that RFK, as we mentioned earlier, you know, he's been selected by Trump to be the next, guy over the Department of Health and Human Services, I think it is, right? Well, you already know what's going to happen. You already know what's going to happen. They all of a sudden now, because they're going to try him because they don't like him. When I say they, I'm talking about pharmaceutical companies. Pharmaceutical companies have made billions of dollars just since the you know what. Billions of dollars. Do you think they're going to let this one man, and I ain't making fun of him. I'm not making fun of him. Y'all know I ain't making, he's like, and I'm not making fun of him. I'm just saying. You think they're going to let someone like that stand in their way for making billions more? No, they're not. They ain't going to let that happen. So guess what's going to happen? Now, all of a sudden, I just saw literally just today. Was it on Twitter? It was just on Twitter. I just saw it on Twitter today. Hold on. Where is it? Right here on Twitter. Let me make sure I bring it up here. This is on Bookmark. And they just posted. They said CDC warns of measles surge and decline in vaccinations as Trump nominates vaccine skeptic RFK Jr. to head health. Isn't that something? How they fit all that in. That was in the Daily Mail. So they're already setting it up. So with him this guy being put in that position, I'm telling you right now, the next pandemics are already lined up. Pharmaceutical companies are already done had the conversation, and they're saying, okay, well, he ain't stopping us. We're going to have to put the millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars that pharmaceutical companies pass out to all of these media companies. These people, they'll tap dance for whatever. CNN, Fox News, whatever. They're standing at the ready to start reporting on the next pandemic. So what are you doing to prepare for that? So again, as we're approaching 2025, the music right now is playing a little bit, but it's giving us some time to start thinking ahead because, I mean, there's some people, they're like, okay, when the music stops, I'm going to be out of this country and I already got some land already set out somewhere, so I got my fruit, my vegetables and all that. And I'm reading about what y'all going through on my phone here. You know what I'm saying? Some people thinking that far. Other people, it may not be moving. They may be doing something else, but I'm telling you right this second, black people, you better start planning ahead for that, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And they're already talking about it. All right. So that's that. Almost finished here. Moving away from religion. Oh my goodness. Well, that's an ongoing series in of itself. So this is going to be short. So let me kind of keep this short and to the point. And when I say moving away from religion, I'm not talking about, yeah, that's right, Dwayne. We got to move away from religion and move into relationship. I'm not saying that. No, you need to start the process of moving away from religion. Why am I saying that? When you take an honest assessment of the religion that has been given to you, an honest assessment, you're going to see that although the incantations, or prayers or whatever it is, they may have helped you here and there, but they have fallen short all in all. When you do the full measurement, they have fallen short of the many promises that it was promised to you. So what I'm saying is, as we're moving into 2025, you're going to need to start being honest with whatever your religion is. You're going to need to start being more honest about, just doing a real assessment of it. Because I'll just tell you the religion that they gave us is designed to keep us to comply and to keep us within the system, this system that they brought us into. That's what religion is for. It is not because if it wasn't, why is it that the only ultimate blessing of the religion is when you die? Why can't you experience massive healings now? You ever thought of that? All the promises are tied to when you die. Oh, when I die, we're going to be walking those streets of gold, honey. When we die, we're going to go into glory. When we die, everything's tied to when you're dead. Everything is. Well, why can't I walk in this stuff now? Pastor walking in it. Why can't I walk in it? Why am I still months behind in my bills on this, that, or whatever? Why? We supposed to be laying hands on the sick and watching people raised from the dead. Why are we not seeing it? Well, hey, God's got his own time. And, after all, he needed another gardener in heaven. And your daddy was a good gardener. And he always, so we'll make up all this kind of stuff. So what I'm saying is that we are in an opportune time where we have to take a full analysis of even religion. Because religion, as we know it even today, and I'm talking specifically now when we're talking about Bible-based religion, has already exposed itself for what it was even during this election season. How many churches did you see stepping out and saying that they're pro-LGBT all of a sudden, or they're pro-abortion? And people just rolling along with it like it's nothing. So religion has already shown its face to you. When are you going to stop making excuses for it? So you're going to have to be honest. I know your mama. I know your grandpa. I know great grandpa. I know they were in the way for a long time. They were Kojic, and Kojic is the greatest church on earth, or, Baptist or AME and all that stuff. I get all of that. But you don't listen, if you're going to keep doing the same, listen, that may have been good to some measure, but you're going to have to start looking at your own life. And I'm talking specifically to those of you who may be even in my age bracket. You ain't too old. You ain't too set in your ways yet. You can still make some changes, and it's okay to. Don't beat yourself up and try to make it seem like, well, if I start questioning things, and what about my grandma, and what about my mama, what they gonna say? Some of them are already gone. They done moved on. You the one still worrying about them. They ain't worrying about you. They want to see you get it right. It's your time to do it. You understand what I'm saying? Stop living in these ghost stories where you're afraid to question anything because you think that somehow some dead relative is going to come back to life and slap you upside the face because you ain't read your Bible in 20 years. Stop it. You should question everything, and it's okay to do that. It doesn't make you a bad person. You just want to make sure that your compass is right. That's it. You know how many people we got here tonight just on this live, and people going to watch this video? I got people from all different walks that watch this thing. I don't care. I don't hold that against you. If you're a Christian or you're Hebrew or whatever, I don't care. But what we do care about is truth. And what we do care about is we want to make sure that our people are not embracing lies for the sake of it. Because what religion does is almost like dopamine. It's like it just give you a shot, where it allows you to kind of get into this escapism. You understand what I'm saying? Like what we talked about tonight about, the impact of abortion and what it's doing. And, and a lot of people want to put their focus on white people dying out, but as black people, we're right behind them. And so what religion does, it tells you, oh, the judgment is falling on them. Well, it's falling on everybody else too, by that standard. So we have to be honest even when it comes to that. So what I'm saying is, as we're going into the 2025, and thankfully I am seeing a lot more people who are starting to be honest a little bit and start to really look into these things and starting to ask those questions. I'm just saying, keep on asking, keep on doing it. It's okay. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. It can be very challenging, and honestly, it can be very lonely at times too, because this has been your Linus comfort blanket for a long time. I get it. I understand. Listen, I know it ain't easy, but I'd much rather be a person who's standing on truth than to continue walking in lies. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that just for my own comfort. No, I ain't doing that. You know what I mean? All right. So the next thing is, so we talked about religion, money real quick. I'll just say this, it's funny. People want to talk about, when it comes to Trump and, him coming in office, first thing he going to do is this, that, or whatever. People complain about Trump this, Trump that, but I don't see anybody complaining about their 401ks going up. I don't see now one person talking about that, complaining about their 401ks going up. So you can have this whole, well, he giving white people reparation. Well, right now, honey, I'm looking at the stock market. There's a lot of people getting broke off right now. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, whomever. There's a lot of people getting broke off right now. So again, if you got a 401k, go check it out, because everybody getting broke off right now. Now, I'm not saying he's the Messiah, he's the one and all. I'm just saying, use this as an opportunity. If you haven't looked at crypto, if you haven't looked at stocks, even on a simple level, this is the time to at least do it, because there's a lot of people that are benefiting right now. A lot of people. And it ain't just millionaires and billionaires or whatever. It's people that got 401ks. It's people that got a little bit of savings on the side. There's a lot of people doing well right now. You understand what I'm saying? How long it's going to last? Don't know. But this is the time to look into it. You know what I'm saying? You better make your moves now. I don't hear now one person talking about, well, you know what I hate? I can't stand Trump. In fact, I'm going to go to my 401k right now, and all any earnings I got since November the 5th, I want them to return it. Ain't now one person saying that. They want all that coin, and me too. See, that's where the rubber meets the road at the end of the day. You can say all you want at the end of the day, but nobody ain't complaining about that Trump money coming in right now. And it's a lot of people doing that. And you should be focused as well on investing, period, because this is a great time to get into that. Don't listen. That's why I say you got to cut out these people out here, the Roland Martins and some of these other people that want to keep our mind, Joy Reids and all that. They want to keep you always looking at the negative. There's a lot of great things that are going on right now, and you better start looking into them and start doing it, because they already broke off. There's a lot of you ain't. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to tell you. Anyway, see, Drummer Praise, he said, man, my family just started a legacy trust. That's what I'm talking about. This is the time to do this, to make these kind of moves right now. And then the last thing I would say is travel. I would highly recommend, if you can do it. Drummer Praise, you just came back from, what country was it? I think it was in South America. A couple of y'all just came back from traveling. I would highly recommend, if you're able to do it, look into doing some traveling. All right. Look into doing some. The world is a huge place, and it all has a lot to offer. Stop listening to the news. Stop listening to Twitter or social media or whatever. There's a lot out here that's going on, and it will do your mind and your body good to experience a lot of these things and what's going on all over Puerto Rico. And so, yeah, it would do your mind and your body very good to experience a lot of this stuff. You know what I like doing when I'm eating dinner? This is just my little pastime. Every time I'm sitting down eating dinner, you know what I like doing? I love, my daughter and I, we always sit down and look at travel videos. Love travel blogs. Love them. Oh my gosh. I be just living life through these people. Or where we going now? There's like a few people I look at now. It's a black girl. She's like in Mexico somewhere. And then the next thing I know, she in some other country. She went to Ethiopia, and then she went this. I literally that's my TV right there, just living life through them. But I ain't gonna just be sitting on my couch living life through them. I'm getting out there. Was it last year? When it was, we went to Mexico. This year we're gonna be going somewhere else. Getting out here and also getting some ideas too. Hey, is this the next step? We don't know. We ain't going to know until we get out here and start exploring a little bit. We don't know. That's why I say, you think I'm sitting up here thinking, depending on Trump. Listen, let me just tell you about the Trump administration real quick. Trump has made it very clear. He's made it very clear he is 100% on Team Israel. 110% he's on Team Israel. There was on Twitter. Oh, you said my dude is checking effect. Yeah, I know him. Well, I don't know him personally, but I know you're talking about. This is some of y'all may be familiar with the platform Twitch. Well, the platform Twitch, right? This major social media platform. They just came out with what they call their hateful conduct policy. They say it's designed to protect our community from attacks based on persons' protected characteristics such as race, nationality, blah, 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 so forth and so on. I don't need to read the whole thing, but basically what they just added? Zionists and Zionism. So if I was on Twitch and I said anything at all derogatory about Zionists or Zionism, then my video will get flagged and they will take it down. Oh, we can get into it. We're going to get into it, and we're going to talk about how some of the laws that are already in place right now in this country are as a direct result of Israel. And with Trump in office right now, it's going to ramp up even more. Everything from who he's picking in his administration. Well, it's no different than Biden. If you've seen Biden's administration, most of his administration came from one particular group of people. I wish I could find a picture. I would have it up on the screen for you. I've showed it to you before. Most of them were Jewish. Trump is going to be the same thing. Now, isn't this something? They make up such a tiny minority of the country, but why is it they always end up all at the White House? Isn't that interesting? And there's a lot of other things we can get into with that too. But on this plantation, I can only say but so much. But I think many of you can read between the lines on that. But it's applicable to a lot of things. So I already understood when I said Trump get in office, they're going to go even harder with this stuff. As far as more money being dumped over to Israel, that's going to continue to happen. He's made that very clear. But like I said, also, there's going to be more word policing. He's made it very clear that he's going to be cracking down on colleges and universities who dare stand up and have words to say about Israel and things like that. What is going to be the impact of our children who go to these colleges and universities and do have an opinion against these things? What's going to be the impact on social media, for people who are calling this stuff out, when it comes to Israel? What's going to be the impact on that? See, now we're getting into the arena of word police. And why do you think Elon Musk is up there? I mean, if you think he's some kind of hero, think again. This is a man that has already experimented and has successfully experimented on getting a brain chip implanted in at least one human being. You understand what I'm saying? So you're going to see a fast track of a lot of technology and government coming together. That's a very, 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 very bad mix when you start thinking about it. When it comes to, let's say, manufacturing. I know Trump had promised that, he's bringing manufacturing back to America. And I'm like, how, Sway? How you going to do that? United States is just going to turn back the clock, and all of a sudden we're going to have the guys sitting on the skyscraper eating their lunches from Ma and Pa. No, no. We already see what manufacturing is, and manufacturing right now is going to be robots. My advice to our young black folks and even our middle-aged black folks is, if you want to get into manufacturing, or I would say if you're looking for future growth areas, I would say look into robot repair. Look into that, because these robots that they're using on these assembly lines, they need to be fixed. And so you need to look into that, the programming, the software that they need to run these robots, those machines. That's it. That's what you need to get into. You always got to think ahead of the curve. Okay. AI technology. I know some people feel some kind of way about AI taking over and this, that, or whatever. Oh, it's taking over. The artists out there, they're not getting paid. Oh, well, I know it's sad. I don't like it. I think it's whatever, but it's technology. They're not going to pull the plug on AI technology simply because you lost your job. That's not going to happen. So what do you have to do? You got to think ahead of the curve. Okay, with this AI technology, how can I use this right now, this AI technology, to basically do what I need to do, so I can stay ahead of the curve and I can keep this money coming in so I can move forward in my life. Let me show you this on what I'm talking about. See, some of y'all think I'm playing around. Some of y'all think I'm just don't know what the heck I'm talking about. But let me show you just a quick example, because see, Negroes and Negresses, let me just say this, okay? Let me just say this, okay? Because see, if you don't pick it up, there's other groups that are already picked it up. All right, let me give you an example. This one's going to blow you away. Let me see. Now, I just mentioned this man earlier tonight, Bishop Patrick Wooten, okay? I'm just giving you an example. Okay, I'm giving you an example here, and this is going to blow you away. Let me go to this page here that I found. I hope y'all ready for this, what I'm getting ready to show you. I hope you're ready for this. You think I'm playing around? You think I'm playing around? Okay, so Bishop Patrick Wooten. So this is a YouTube page called Bishop Patrick Wooten. Now, let me just point out to you immediately, this is not his official page. Okay, so I want you to pay very close attention to this page here. All right, so thumbnails, AI. Okay, that's all AI, right? So all of this are messages from Bishop Patrick Wooten. I can click on any one of these and it's going to be messages from Bishop Patrick Wooten. I hope you're following me. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Whoa, wait a minute. Kiang Gang and Ang Giang. Wait a minute here. Hold on. Wait a minute. I was just looking at Bishop Patrick Wooten. These folks look like they're from Vietnam or something. And he or whoever, they got the idea. They said, you know what? We can make some money off of these Negroes using this AI technology. This is the rest of the channel here. This is the part of the channel you don't see. Now, I want you to take note of the numbers, the view count of their videos. 460. Well, that one got 2K. 867. 543. Right? And this is them playing volleyball. And I'm assuming this is Vietnam. All right? And you move up. Now, all of a sudden, they're interested in Bishop Patrick Wooten. Now look at their numbers. 2.7, 2.5, 3K, 5K, 3.3, 2.6, 3.4, 11K, 7.4, 15K. All done with AI. So while you're sitting up here complaining and scared because you think, I read a scripture and they said AI means the mark. Okay, well, they say, all right, well, we're going to scoop it up. And here you got people on the other side of the world scooping up, using AI technology. Anybody can do this, literally. Anybody can do this. Studying Black history, Black content. They're studying our content that we're just putting up on here for free. And they're taking it, running it through AI, asking AI, hey, help me to put together some thumbnails. I don't know what this man is saying. I just know that Black people like him. So let me build a whole channel just with this man's sermons and monetize it so I can get paid off of it. This is how the world is moving, y'all. So there's all kinds of things. There are so many channels just here on YouTube that are all AI. Nicole lately, she's been looking at people have been generating stories using AI. And then they got the voice. I just can't get past the voice. That's just me. I just can't get past it. You know, hello, friends. Welcome to another, it's just hard for me to get past that, but Nicole, she cool with it or whatever. And she said, stories are really intriguing, and I bet they are. So they're taking Black history or Black culture or whatever, and they're generating that. I told y'all, you remember that whole thing that went on with the whole Russian paintings and you had Hebrews and everybody jumping on this. So I'm like, yeah, that's true. What's his name? Putin, he's saying this. And I just kept looking at the channel. I was like, this don't sound like us. Like the person that's talking or whatever. I said, this don't sound. And I kept digging and digging. I was like, and I think I narrowed it down. The person someone in Africa somewhere. They sit there and they study the stuff that we show interest in. And then they said, okay, let me run it through AI because AI doesn't have a heavy accent like I do. And so let me generate some some great thumbnails to spit it out and get it out there and people will love it. And you got Black people like, yeah, did you see this? And someone in Vietnam up there counting their coins. They're like, keep it coming. So anyway, so tonight what we did, the goal was just to highlight some of the main things, at least from my small perspective, that as a people, we really need to focus on. And not so much Trump, whoever, whatever, they're going to do exactly what they're going to do. And, still keep your eye on it, of course. But at the same time, there is plenty of things that you should be focused on now to get your stuff together. Plenty of things. And you can have a successful, healthy, well life. You can. But, there's just certain things you're just going to have to be willing to face. Everything from, we were talking about the whole gender thing, for example, everything from, facing people in your life that, even family members that are just, I'm not telling you got to cut yourself off completely. For some people, maybe that's going to be the case if they're sucking life out of you. You know what I mean? But your main thing should be going into 2025 is protecting your peace. That's really what it should be at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And love yourself more. And that's okay. It's okay to love yourself more. All right. There's no prize you get for loving everybody else and then you just taking in crap. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. It's okay to love yourself more. And then, like I said, focus on health. We talked about that. We talked about birth rates. I'm just going through making sure I'm hitting over everything. Even a religion thing, I'm just saying, take a closer look at that. You're going to have to start being honest with that, really taking serious assessments about that. We talked about money, investing, and then we talked about travel and the importance of doing that as well. So we covered quite a bit here this evening. I hope you got something. What someone said here. Let me look at some of these comments here. If y'all got any comments or anything you'd like to add to the broadcast, go ahead and put it up there. I'd like to read some of what y'all say. I do like hearing from y'all. Exquisite. She ain't just a Caribbean queen. She's not just a queen, y'all. Let's get this right. See, I got to back up. You got to back all the way up on this one. So this ain't just a queen. This is a Caribbean queen. This ain't just a Caribbean queen. She's an exquisite Caribbean queen. Okay. So I had to get all that out. Okay. So let's read what she says. She says, as a 63-year-old black diasporian woman, I am way ahead of the curve with AI. I took time to become a super prompt personal engineer. What, girl? Sis. She said, I took the time to become a super prompt personal engineer. And it's extremely exciting. And you're on point with this. Did you hear what she just said? She's 63 years old. She said, she became a super prompt personal engineer. Let me explain to you pretty much what that is. If you go to, for example, like if a business, for example, may say, hey, listen, exquisite Caribbean queen, we need some information. All right. It could be anything, right? On any topic. And anybody right now, most people, when they go to ChatGPT, they're just asking, just like you would ask any question, right? But when you are doing this type of work that she's talking about, there's certain ways that you got to ask so that you can get more specific answers. You understand what I'm saying? Especially like if you're trying to do, if it's whatever, if you're in a specific business, you got to know, you got to be knowledgeable. So what she has to do is take their expertise, right? And figure out, how do I ask ChatGPT or whatever AI program platform of her choice, how can I ask it so I can get the maximum amount of data so I can pass it on back to them? You understand what I'm saying? And so that's what she's doing. That's amazing. And she's 63 years old. I'm telling y'all, listen, age is just nothing but a number. Look at that. So that's wonderful, 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 wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Let's see what Coach has to say here. He says, for your information, did I skip? I want to make sure I got his whole thing. He said, I'm slowly building a team around me to push Coco classroom online homeschooling platform that integrates AI to build courses from MVP beta stage to launch. It's been hard but rewarding. Yeah, he's been telling me about this. And that's wonderful. That's another thing. And he said, go back here. He said, he just posted here. He said, there are a few parents using the platform and I help them build courses. So he's building our own course. This is what I'm talking about. Why are we freaking out? Why would Coach or anybody, why would you be freaking out about what's going on in the Department of Education? You got people right here doing their own thing right now. This is what I'm talking about. Great. Good for you. Let me see here. Someone said the world is changing so fast, minute by minute. It sure is. But you know what? You got enough sail. You should have enough sail in you to come right along with it, Angela. All right. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Someone said that. Yeah. She also said Barbara O'Neill, her channel is no longer officially, but it's generated by someone else. Yeah, AI be snatching all this stuff and then generate. You think you talking to someone, but man, it be AI. Who else? Let me see. Anybody else got something you want to add to this as we kind of wind up here? But yeah. So listen, there's a ton of things we can be doing right now. A ton of things. And I've been reassessing some of my stuff that I got here too. So listen, we're entering into 2025 now. We're coming to the close of this year. This is usually the time of self-reflection where people are thinking about, okay, what should I be doing now? This is the time to do it. I think we have been given some time to do this, whatever it is that you're doing. But after a while, I think the door is going to close, and that's going to be it, and it's done. And that's it. So this is the time to do it. I'll just say this too. Let me see what she said. Writing a curriculum now to re-educate Black youths worldwide for global dominion. Thank you. I love my Black people. It will take about 4 to 6 months, but it is going to be excellent. That's right. And I'm sure it is. So anyway, yeah, so keep us up to date on those things, y'all, on what you're doing and all of that. And we want to see our people win. But we want to be able to win on our own accord, not on what the government decides on what we can win on. Okay. So that's it, family. That's all I have for you this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys take care and enjoy the rest of your evening and weekend. Take care now. See you.